I'm Mike.
And I'm Adam.
And this is Stuff and Waffle. Two friends talking about stuff, and often as not, waffling with frequent reference to Bond cars.
This episode marks a bit of a landmark for us. We've been doing this a year now.
Hard to believe, isn't it?
It's
hard to believe.
It's
what a year it's been.
Yeah, I mean, outside of podcast world, my goodness me, that can do one.
Oh, it's all gone horribly wrong, hasn't it?
Yeah. I remember saying to you at the time when January of 2021 started and we were all like getting geared up and getting ready for the kids to go back to school. I think even your small person went for a day.
He did. Yes, he went back for a day, and then Boris went on television, and that was that.
That was that,
yeah,
and
for another 3 months or something. Yes,
that was it. And I'd embarked on Dry January. That lasted until the 4th of January.
Yeah, we were going to by 8 o'clock that first evening when Boris came on television. We were busting one open. Yes,
that's it. Yes, I got. Kaylee handed me a beer before his speech was done. With she was very adamant that I was not going to be dry, having a lockdown announced. No. However, it did spur us on to actually pull our finger out and do a podcast, even though we'd been threatening to for a while, but we actually
we'd been having sort of a once a week chat, hadn't we, outside of any sort of working contact that we had. We were having a sort of, and we thought, well, let's just record it and see what it sounds like.
Oh,
and
it's gold.
Yeah, we thought, no, we got to put this out. Yes.
And as it turns out, there are people that listen. So
it's amazing.
Thanks awfully for that.
I'm very grateful to everyone that listens to this rubbish. I mean, this carefully curated conversations.
Exactly.
It's yes. It's very gratifying that people seem to like what we're doing.
Yeah, we've done that. I've got gigabytes of hard drive space eaten up by recordings, and some of the stuff that's never made it out as well, that eats up hard drive space. One day I'll do an outtakes.
You need to do an outtakes clips show, I think. Yes, because there's some corkers in there.
Oh, there's some right old cock ups.
Oh yeah, some of the abandoned intros and all sorts of stuff.
All sorts of utter drivel. But it'll you're not going to learn anything, but you'll have a laugh at our expense.
Oh, I think so, yeah. And you may even learn some new words.
Yeah, and there'll be some noises to accompany the words. It's something for everyone. It's fun for all the family there.
Properly edited, it could resemble a trip to the zoo.
Oh God, yeah, it really could. Pops, bangs, and whistles. How lovely!
And then there was your night on the whiskey, but I think the less said about that, the better.
Oh dear. Yeah, I still blame COVID.
Yes, I know you do.
that good, like you say, less said the better. My goodness me,
that fell apart fast.
Yep. The wheels came off of the wagon.
It really did.
Oh my goodness me! Right, don't dwell on that.
No. Moving on.
Haunts me slightly.
Yeah.
Only the bits that I can remember. 4 sodding points. Not too drunk to remember 62 to 58.
We'll have another go.
Oh dear. Right.
Lovely stuff. However, it is fitting that this is our anniversary episode because a momentous event has occurred.
Has it?
It has. We bought a car.
When you say we, not me and you.
No, sorry.
I don't remember that happening at all.
I should be clear. Not you and me. No, myself and my good lady.
Right.
Purchased a vehicle.
You've purchased a vehicle. Not right. So, before we get too far into this, what we did is we've done a couple of episodes following the sale of your car. And
yes, the sale of my Tesla Model S, for those that don't remember. Yeah.
That is
we
correct.
did an episode of What Should I Get Next?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we did.
and that didn't occur. So what we did subsequently, and you will have already heard, assuming you're listening to these in order, um,
Yeah.
is that you did another list because circumstances has slightly changed.
Circumstances are dynamic.
Yeah, very
but
fluid. Yeah.
fluid. Yes, we go with the flow here.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So, first of all, then, was it a car off the list we discussed?
No.
Is it-
Um,
Good. I'm glad we spent time going through those.
no, but it is sort of close to one
Sort of close. Go on then.
in a way.
In a way.
Because
So what you were looking for was
we
practical
ended
daily,
up,
really, wasn't it?
yeah,
And I left it with instructing you how to deal with the situation.
you did. You were very clear.
Um,
Yes,
but what you're saying to me is you've not bought a Mark 1 Focus.
we have not bought a Mark 1 Focus,
Ah, tit.
but well, not yet.
Okay.
The Mark 1 Focus was either going to be my car or the family car, if you like. My car tends to be the family car, much as it is for your good self. But this particular purchase is how you would put it, the lady car. This is specifically my good lady's car,
Right.
not mine.
Okay, that sounds very similar to the dynamic we've got going on here.
Yeah, it is very similar. Yes, and yes, not dissimilar requirements at all. So we haven't bought a Mark 1 Focus, but we have bought a Mark 1 Ford Puma.
Oh,
So very same era, from the same manufacturer.
Still a glorious blue oval on the front of that.
Still a glorious blue oval on the front. Still part of their funky new edge design language, which the Focus and the Mondeo and the Cougar and that whole range of vehicles that they did at that time.
I must say, while you mentioned the name of it, I've driven a Cougar and I hated it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I have had a little look. This is a slight tangent. I have had a little look at Cougars because I thought, oh, well, if we're going to have a Puma in the household, would it be nice to have its sort of big sister? But then I looked at them and thought, no.
Correct decision. It was considering it was basically a Mondeo underneath. Really,
it's based on the Mondeo, isn't it? Yeah.
It felt awful. It just didn't feel as good as the Mondeo did.
It wasn't a terribly successful vehicle for Ford,
No.
and there are hardly any for sale. To be fair,
well, it was hardly. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, hardly any bought originally. Really,
no, exactly. It would be tough to find one. There's the odd one around that looks half decent, but it would be difficult to find one, and it's not really my sort of car. I just briefly considered it because I thought, well, if I've got a Puma, it'd be kind of fun to have a Cougar as well.
I can follow the logic. Yeah.
Yeah. Thought having both of those on the driveway would be kind of funky, but no, the idea didn't last long. So don't worry.
Good. Right. Let's just clear it up now and make sure that you've bought the Puma with the 1.7 engine.
It is indeed the 1.7. What we've got is quite rare. So it's a 2002. It's a March 2002 Mark 1 Puma. So it's a really late one.
Yeah, that's late. That is
really late. They stopped making the Puma in July of that year, and this one is from March. So it's from the last few months of production.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the Thunder Special Edition that they did, which means it gets a few extra tasty options.
It gets a few tasty options. Am I right in thinking they all came with leather?
They all came with the full leather interior.
And only available in silver and grey, I believe.
Only available in silver or grey. Ours is in the grey, the Magnum grey,
which is that's good because while they were only available in silver or grey, the silver was actually a standard colour.
Yes, the grey was the extra, wasn't it?
That's
It was
right,
the
yeah.
option. Yes. So ours is the grey. It's got the correct wheels that were specific to the Thunder.
Mhm.
They're very reminiscent of the Focus ST wheels that they were doing at the time. They're a little bit smaller, but they're that sort of design. So it's got the correct wheels, as you say, full leather interior. It has a 6 CD changer, which again was standard on the Thunder.
That's right.
And it has traction control, which I believe no other Puma ever had.
Oh,
Sadly, I can't find a button to turn it off.
okay. Is it
So,
particularly intrusive?
well, we haven't had much of a hoon yet. As of recording, we only got it this morning.
Right.
We haven't fully explored its abilities yet. We have been driving Phil's Puma, which he very kindly loaned us for this brief period when we were this sort of couple of weeks when we were between
Between
vehicles.
vehicles, yes.
His isn't a Thunder, his is a black, and his is a couple of years older.
Mhm.
But I mean, obviously, basically the same thing. His is also the 1.7, but obviously not being our car, we don't like to take the hooning too far.
No. I can see that. No, that's absolutely fine. So yeah, you've got yourself a little treat there.
I think we've got ourselves a little treat there, but it's even better than that. This particular one, it is in really, really good condition. I'm not going to use the word mint because that gets a bit overused these days. It's still at the end of the day a 20-year-old Ford.
Yeah.
But given how Pumas rust, this one has got hardly any. It's been really carefully looked after.
Oh,
I think
perfect.
it's been garaged. It certainly looks like that. There's a couple of little patches on it here and there, but that is about it. I think, from what I can tell from my initial inspection, it's been undersealed,
Very handy.
which helps an enormous amount. It's lived most of its life down the south coast. It was bought brand new in Poole in Dorset,
Mhm.
um, by a couple who had it serviced at the main Ford dealer that they bought it from. I've got a great stack of invoices and receipts with it. Full service history. It's got every stamp in the book. Yeah, it's in really good nick. It's really, really tidy. But for a car that's 20 years old, it's only done 42,000 miles, which is just
Well,
unbelievable.
that's happy days, really, isn't it?
It's happy days. So full service history. It's got a brand new set of decent tires on it, Kumo tires,
Okay.
that have literally only got a few hundred miles on them. It's just been serviced. Yeah, it's the one you'd want. We're really lucky, and the first search I had after we had decided to get one, it was the second one on the list, and I just knew. You get that. You just know, don't you? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You just know, and I thought this is the one. This is too good to pass up. It was a really good price. There is a reason, and this is something I've not told you. There is a reason that one this good was within budget, because we have stayed within the budget that we were talking at on this last
Right.
episode.
Okay.
We haven't bought quite the car we decided on,
But you've stuck
but
to
we
the
have
money.
stayed within the budget. We have stayed within the budget, and there is a reason that we're able to get one this good and this rare within budget.
Go on,
Um,
then.
but it's a bit of a stupid reason. It was many, many moons ago. It was written off,
Oh,
but
interesting.
it was a financial write-off, not a structural one. It's never been in a crash. We've got all the documentation for this, as corroborated by the dealer, but we've got all the paperwork that bears this out. What happened was, the lady whose car it was, because it looks like it was a second car for the wife.
Yeah.
That looks to have been the setup. She scraped it against the gatepost one day, and because it needed a better paintwork on the passenger side, and it was in that period when Pumas were just worth nothing,
Yeah.
the insurance company just wrote it off. because it needed a couple of days in a body shop to respray the passenger door.
And that was it. Oh,
that was it. They wrote it off.
Oh, that's not worth losing sleep over, is it?
Not at all. So the husband, I mean, why you would claim on insurance for something like that, I'm not sure, but because it cost him money and it devalued the car.
That probably escalated at that point.
Yeah, so quite why you would go through insurance for a scratch on your passenger door, I'm not sure. But anyway, he did. They wrote it off. He bought it off them and had it repaired and put it back on the road, and that's it. So it's never been in a crash, but it does have a write-off on its history. So consequently, I reckon it's at least a couple of grand less than it would have been worth.
That's an excellent find, isn't it? And it's worth doing the research on that, isn't it?
Exactly, and that is sort of an interesting point to touch on, actually. That is a car with a write-off in its history worth considering. Well, if you do your research and find out exactly what that means, and certainly if it's a Cat D rather than a Cat S, because they've changed all the
letters, which made it really brilliant.
Yeah, as long as it's a financial write-off, I think, yeah, why not? I mean, you could really benefit from it, as we have here. It's a car that we would not have. One of these in this condition, I think, would have been at least 4.5, if not 5 grand, and they are out there, in really, really cared for condition for that money. But because it's got a write-off on its history, it's less than half that. So I think we've done all right with that, and my good lady absolutely loves it.
Excellent.
In fact, she says it's the best car she's ever had.
Wow,
which is quite something. And we might go through her car history in a minute, because she didn't want to, but I can.
You've been granted permission to go through that.
I have. Okay. But there we are. So we have a new car on the driveway, which is the first time that's happened in the 12 months that we've been recording this.
That is. I mean, that's the first time we had a new car on your driveway for some years as well.
Yeah. Well, the Tesla was the last one in 2017. That was the last time we had a new car. And that obviously actually was a brand new car on the driveway.
That's right. Yeah. No. Yeah. You've got the newest addition to the Stuff and Waffle fleet there.
I did. There we are, and what an addition it is! It's a very Stuff and Waffle car, I think.
That is. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it in person.
That won't be long. Yes.
Nope. Oh my. Oh, really good choice. I mean, nowhere near what you were after, but very good.
Not what we were after, but also not a million miles away. I mean, it's the sort of age of Mark 1 Focus we were looking at. It's from the same, range of cars. But there are some Focus bits in it.
But this is true, yeah. I mean, it's just a good car, though. I mean, and that engine as well. Oh,
the 1.7 litre Yamaha developed engine is a real peach, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, they are such good fun to drive. We've really, I mean, we've loved Phil's, and shout out to Phil for kindly loaning it to us, and that's what's done it, really. Because I was thinking it's difficult when I'm trying to think of cars that might work. It's very difficult to get an extended test drive of a used car.
It doesn't really work. It's not a thing.
It doesn't really work. New cars, you can often arrange that. You can have them for 24 hours or whatever. Lots of dealers will do that now. But an older car, it's really difficult to get one and give it a proper good go, unless you know someone who's got one and they're willing to loan it to you. Which
in this instance, you nailed it.
We've nailed it. And but I would never have considered a Puma. For Dawn, it just never entered my head, because she's had sporty hatchbacks before, and always liked them, but this one apparently beats them all,
which is interesting because I wouldn't say it was complete. It was never marketed solely as a sports car or anything like that.
No, they did lean quite heavily on it being a good driver's car. That was, that was in Ford's advertising, and certainly if you look at the Top Gear reviews of the time, it was Top Gear's Car of the Year in 1997. In fact, they very much emphasised the driver's car aspect of it. But yeah, not an out and out sports car. No,
it was no. But you're right, it is a driver's car. I've not driven Phil's current Puma, but I drove his previous one, and I borrowed it a few times as well. And it you can just chuck it at corners, and it just goes.
Yeah, it puts me in mind of the Mini, because the very, very stable wheels right in the corners, and it's a little go-kart. It really is.
I mean, I'd have to say it's got the Mini beat ever so slightly. I mean, it's not only has it got the bigger engine, it's got less weight.
Yeah, I agree.
They only just, really only just nudge over a ton.
Yeah, it's a
weight.
beautiful,
it's really
beautifully put together package. Yeah. But as I said earlier, as we've said before on this podcast, it comes from that era where Ford were really on it. They were producing some cracking stuff in that era.
That's it. If you wanted, anything, you could have had a Puma, a Focus, a Fiesta, a Mondeo. They all were just good cars.
Yeah, they were. You'd be a safe bet with any of them, wouldn't you? Yeah, you really would.
Well, and they were cashing in because you think, I don't want to become the politics podcast, but with New Labour at the time and Mondeo Man and...
Yes, there you go. Tony Blair was his line, wasn't it? Tony Blair was specifically targeting who he called Mondeo Man. Yes,
that's right.
Yeah, indeed. Not Vectra Man.
No. No, because you will fall asleep when talking.
You will. Bad.
Have you seen the detail on my wing mirror?
Yeah, that's the best part. Yeah. That's the best bit. Yes.
Oh dear.
I'm not sure it's worth it. So there we are. We have a low mileage, really good condition, rare Mark 1 Ford Puma, and I'm absolutely delighted.
After I've got my goings on of the weekend out the way, I'll be round next week.
You absolutely should. Yes, you need to park yourself in this. Yes,
I will. Don't you worry.
Yes, I think we've done all right there. Good dealer as well. I have to say they were really good to deal with. Never dealt with them before. But
that's nice. That helps.
Yes.
All right.
Janine Doyle Cars in Taunton. Very, very good.
Okay, so not a million miles away then?
No, not at all. Not at all. No, exclusive little dealership, by appointment only, and only a few cars, but know what they've got, and yeah, really good to deal with. Had no bother with them at all. And,
no, it's like I like that sort of thing. It's a bit like the guy I bought the Volvo off. He only ever keeps 3 or 4 cars in stock, just ones that he'll turn around quickly.
Yeah.
And yeah, just he was good chap to deal with.
There's a dealer very much like that I bought my Jaguar X-Type from, so you can never know.
Yeah, that was a quality product you bought there. None of the inner workings fell off or anything.
No, it didn't cost as much to fix as I paid to buy it or anything. It was fine. But let's not get into that. That's been covered in great detail before.
No, we've already laughed at you for that many times.
We have covered that in great detail.
Right, where we need to go from here then is your good lady has said this is the best car she's ever owned.
She has said that, yes.
And I've driven a Puma, and I'm not going to knock the fact that they are brilliant to drive, but I know some of the cars she's owned previously.
Yeah.
And they're ordinarily not snubbed, so...
Indeed, it's a bold statement, isn't it? It's a bold statement. Well, shall we take it in reverse order with we've got 6 cars that she has.
6 cars.
owned.
So we know what's number 1.
We know what's number 1, the Ford Puma. We mustn't discount that it's very easy for the car you currently have to be your favorite and for you to reevaluate things later on.
This is true. That's fine. I'll tell you what then, because we know number 1, let's work our way back to worst car then. Let's go. Let's do second.
Okay, work our way back to worst car. Okay.
Because I'm very intrigued to know.
So the car in the number 2 spot is her. Let me get the year right. It was a 2001. Yes, a 2001 Renault Sport Clio.
Okay.
Now that car is no slouch either, as we know, and she's always, because we were together when that car was sold, and she's always partly regretted getting rid of it. It did suffer quite a major mechanical fault shortly after we sold it. So, the head gasket went on it.
Oops.
Yeah. So we kind of just got rid of it in time, but
so that's so she got a Clio Renault Sport. So that would have been. You said 2001. Did you say
2001? Yeah.
Was that a phase 1 or a phase 2?
It was a phase. It was a phase 1.
It's a just ever so slightly pre-facelift, because
pre-facelift.
The facelift was actually in 2001. So it's a 172.
Okay. That was the changeover year. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The changeover. Yes, it was the original shape. Yeah. Well, not original shape Clio, but the previous one. Yes.
That's it. It was actually, I think it was the Mark II Clio, but the first time it had been made Renault Sport.
Correct.
Yeah.
That one. The one that doesn't have the twin grills on the front. It's just got the wraparound bonnet.
Right. Yeah. I think. Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Which she actually bought brand new. Her and her then partner bought it together brand new. So she had basically had that car from new. It had done 130,000 miles. And was still in really good nick because she lived in the southeast in those days, and it was mainly motorway miles commuting. So basically that 130,000 miles was spent going around the M25.
Oh, wow! So, really exploring the limits of grip there.
Oh yeah, pushing it to the edge there. Yes, indeed. But that has always been her favourite car, and has always been. And we were looking at those to buy another one, although finding a pre-facelift now is a tall order.
Yeah, they weren't made like in massive numbers for Renault Sport.
Well,
rust-wise is an issue as well.
Yes, that as well. Well, I mean, all cars of that era have rust issues, don't they? Let's be honest. That we shouldn't single out any particular manufacturer for that. They all had that problem then. But I went looking for a pre-facelift one, and I found one.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
And it was absolutely mint. It had done about 12,000 miles, and it was nearly $7,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, those cars, they have to be commended for that engine they had as well, because it was the 2-liter 16 valve with the variable valve timing. It had, I don't know why I retained this bollocks, but for instance, it was, considering that's in a Clio, that was also in Lagunas and in a Spas.
Yeah, it was widely used, wasn't it?
However, the one in the Renault Sport one, that was tuned and modified by Mechachrome to give it a performance edge as well.
Yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Mechachrome as well at the time weren't they working? This is a Formula One thing. They were, because Renault officially pulled out of Formula One after the end of '97, but I think Mechachrome carried on. They took over the production of the Formula One engines.
Okay.
So that's so there's a bit of motorsport connections there.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, well, I know it does have them. Yeah, but so that was her second favorite car. But until the Puma, it was still her most favorite car.
I've never driven one. I'd love to have a go.
I've driven a couple actually. and they were cracking. But according to the owner, the Puma edges it.
Okay, that's okay.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
I'll have to bow to the knowledge on that one.
Yeah, well, indeed. So,
in third place.
In third place was our 2016 Fiesta ST3.
Okay.
So she puts that behind the Clio and the Puma, which might be surprising.
That is quite surprising. Was there any explanation on why that was the case?
Yeah. She never. Obviously, a car from a completely different era, a much more modern car. And she found it a little bit too restricting. She found the sort of safety features and driver aids that were on it, the traction control and things were just a bit too. They were always kind of getting in the way.
A little too invasive.
She didn't. Yes, good way of putting it. Yeah, she also found the steering too light.
I hate that in modern cars. Not so much. I mean, the Volvo, that's got quite light steering, which is fine because you're just wafting along.
It's a completely different sort of car, though, isn't it? You can't compare it. Yeah.
But when you're driving something like a hot hatch like that, yes, I mean, but manufacturers have achieved it in certain instances where you're maneuvering around town and you've got light steering. But when you're on the open road and you've hit a corner at speed, it loads up nicely.
Yeah.
But you didn't get that in that.
No, not at all. It's always light. And it's interesting because the Fiesta ST3 particularly is lauded by those that purport to know as one of the best handling cars of all time. But she didn't find that at all. And she never really gelled with it.
Well, I suppose...
Again, we bought that brand new. So, it wasn't knackered when we got it.
I suppose it's a difficult fine line between saying something handles really well and something that gives you a lot of feedback. That's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing, and she never felt that. She never felt very engaged with it. She never really gelled with the Fiesta. We never had any problems with it, but it's
But still, a podium position.
This is true. Still made it into the top 3, and I think it's worthy of that.
Okay.
Because I really liked it. I hated being a passenger in it, but I liked driving it.
Okay, so I tell you what, I'm very interested in the remaining 3 because I don't. The 3 cars that you've listed are the only cars that I know of that she's owned.
Oh, you don't know the other 3? Okay.
No.
Very good.
No, maybe I do actually, and that was.
I think you know one of them.
Yes.
I think you know one of them.
Okay, so coming in position 4.
In position 4 was her 1998 Citroen AX.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Base spec. Not a GT. Absolute boggo car.
Proper bog standard.
Yeah.
98 as well. That's right at the end of its run.
It is. It's a really late one. Again, it was bought brand new, not by her. I think it was a 21st birthday present from her parents, which is
and they bought
cool.
her a French car.
They did. They were quite into French cars. Her parents had 2 Citroen BXs.
Okay.
2.
I mean,
they did it once, and then they did it again.
I think we might have mentioned that before again.
Oh, yeah. And then the second BX was replaced with a Xantia. So they were right on it.
Bloody a Xantia.
Yeah. That was a 98 as well. The 2 were bought together. The AX and the Xantia were bought as a pair from the same dealership.
Oh, I know which one I'd have.
What a 2-car garage.
There might be a day when one of them might work.
One of them might work, yes. They had them in the same colour, a dark metallic green, and they were a matched pair. And because they were from the same dealership and both brand new, I think they had sequential number plates as well.
One plate apart.
Yeah.
Perfect.
What a thing.
That's... Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's Stop Junior Tracks, isn't it? But yeah, so Citroen AX.
But I've had I've been in a Citroen AX. Phil had one.
Of course he did.
Of
course he did.
It was his first car, wasn't it?
Oh, of course. Yes, I forgot that. Yes.
But I've subsequently heard that people do like them. People do say that they are a good sort of driver's car. You can chuck them.
Yeah, that's what she liked about it. And I think, and this is a point actually that James May's made in the past, that because a car like that, you can find the limit on the road so easily with its tiny little engine and skinny little tires, that actually it's more fun than a £300,000 supercar where you're never going to find the limit on the road, or at least you shouldn't be trying to.
No.
But a car like that, because you can get to the limit and have enormous fun going and buying a bottle of milk from Tesco's, actually, it's a much better value proposition.
Yeah, you're
it never once passed an MOT without having some work done. even its first one,
I mean, obviously,
yes. That car came to a premature end when it got driven into the back of a Range Rover.
Oh my God, that would have annihilated it.
It did. Yes.
Oh dear.
Yes. So that was a great shame. There was another one in this area that again that was exactly the same and had again one digit different on the number plate that we used to see around, that I assume was from the same dealer and from the same batch of cars. And we saw that for years afterwards, but it's gone now. But there was another one that lasted longer.
Because I'm assuming that was bought locally then.
It was from a local dealer, Bideford dealer, yeah.
Yes, because we do. Well, have we still got? Is it still got a Citroen dealer in Bideford? I can't.
Not in Bideford. No,
we've got a Barnstable one, haven't we?
It was bought from, what was the name of the dealer it came from? They were down by what's now Morrison's.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yes,
I can't remember the name of it.
I can't remember the name. Elliott's.
Oh yeah, of course.
That was it.
Well done, you nailed
Just
it.
dredge that up from a filing cabinet in the back room. Yes.
Yeah, that's taking the place of something important. That is.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's right. Something really critical has been shoved aside in order to retain.
You can remember the name of a debunked Citroen dealer in North Devon. Well done, you.
Yes, there we go. Yes, the AX and the Xantia both came from them, brand new. Yeah.
Wow.
But again, she liked it because, as you say, it was a bit of a driver's car, and it was easy to find the limit in it. I mean, there were no safety features whatsoever.
No.
In an accident, the crumple zone is your face, so
that's fine.
Yes, no bother.
Yeah, but
she really liked it.
It's that perfect thing of going small engine, but weight massively under a ton.
Yes, enormously, especially base spec. There's nothing on it.
Nothing. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, she really loved that little thing, and it was special. It was 21st birthday present and all that. But
not to be knocked, actually.
Not to be knocked, and it replaced something that we'll come on to, but not the car in second place. Or wherever we're not second place, fifth place.
While we're on the topic of Citroen AX, did you know that there was an electric version?
No, I don't think I did.
It was made in very low numbers.
It must have been at that time. Yes.
Yeah, there was an 11 kilowatt, 15 horsepower AX Electric.
Electric with a Q. Wow.
Yes,
wow, I did not know that. They were playing with that early, weren't they?
Yeah. That was they had a little dabble there.
Well done, Citroen.
Yeah,
well done, Citroen.
I thought you'd like that little nugget.
Oh, very good. Well, any mention of an electric car gets us going, so that's very good. Excellent.
Yeah,
this one was definitely not electric.
No, so there you go. There's a mid-90s rust bucket of a Citroen that's electric powered.
Wow. I bet there aren't any of those left.
No, I'd imagine they are slim pickings these days. I'll
I
tell you
would
what.
think.
I'll do a quick Google for you.
Go on then.
I'll
Go on
do it
then.
very, very brief. But I am not expecting much in the way of results. Right, what we got?
No, I don't have high hopes. No.
Oh wow! Yeah, released in '93, produced all the way through to '96. 374 examples were built.
Wow, that's quite a lot for what would basically been an experimental car.
Yeah, that's it. It's got a. I mean, it looks fairly standard. It's got. Wow! It had a range of 50 miles, apparently.
Really?
That's
better
way more than I was expecting.
That's almost better than a first generation Nissan Leaf from about 30 years later.
Yeah, a
That's
range of 50
impressive.
miles and a top speed of 91 kilometers an hour. So give or take 50-ish miles an hour.
That's impressive for the. I mean, nowhere to charge it, but that's impressive for the time.
Yeah, that really is. That is
wow. I'm impressed.
Yep. So that there was a nice touch as well because on the dash, on the left-hand side, they still had the speedometer, and on the right-hand side, rather than on obviously not on all models of AX, it had a rev counter, but on this one, it was energy.
Energy.
Yeah.
Very good.
There you go.
I'm impressed. Well done, Citroen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, go on then. That's the one. That's what you need to buy next. Go and find one of those.
Oh Jesus! Yes. Well, if she'd known there was an electric Citroen AX, I mean, the Puma wouldn't have got a look in, would it? Let's be honest.
I'll tell you what. You're going to rush in later this evening. And you tell her that.
I am. I'm going to tell her there was an electric version of your AX. Yes. It's going to blow everything apart again.
She's going to be excited.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it wasn't. Oh God, we continue down the rabbit hole here. It wasn't the only one actually, because I think there was a Saxo version as well.
Wow, they were really going for that.
Yeah, I think they dabbled.
Yeah, clearly.
So,
well done, Citroen.
Yep, that's it. It's again in as in the way you remember old dealerships. I've remembered clapped out Citroens that are electric.
Well done, you. That's good.
Absolute nonsense there.
You're tuned in to top quality rubbish there.
Yes,
absolutely.
So right, let's drag it back. And in position 5,
in position number 5 was our 2005 Ford Focus Mark II.
That was the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
second worst.
Honest. I mean, yeah. Of Dawn's cars, yes, her second worst. But I mean, an all right car. But no one's going to get excited about it.
No, we've touched on this before, haven't we? It was such a disappointment after the Mark I, and ours was not the best example. And it was a mistake purchase. We'd just had our little fella, and we believed that rubbish that you needed a collection of massive cars to cope with children. And I had the X-Type estate at the time, and we thought, well, clearly, we need another big practical family car. So we went and bought a cheap Mark II Focus.
See, you handled it very differently to how we handled it.
What did you do?
I didn't have a driving license. That predated ever so slightly, so that was that. And
I always forget you came late to driving.
Yeah. Yes. And Kaylee had a convertible Volkswagen Beetle.
Of course she did. The perfect family wagon. Yes.
And no changes were made.
And that was good. You just got on with it.
Well, it was like we managed to buy the biggest pushchair thing known to man. We got to the car and went, that's a very small opening for the boot.
Yeah.
And yet there was an angle where it worked.
I was going to say you could have towed it behind, couldn't you?
But yeah,
Been
we
all
just still lob all the shit in there. Where you
Yeah.
go? I
There you
mean, the
go.
small person didn't take up a lot of room. They're very small.
They are very small, particularly when they first arrive.
Yeah. So
Yes, that's true. Well done. But yes, so we bought a Mark II Focus that did have a few issues. It developed a cutting out issue where it would just die, and you had to just coast over to the side of the road and switch it all off and wait 5 minutes and then turn it back on again, and it'd be fine.
perfect.
And
Fuel saving.
we kept taking it back to the garage, and they couldn't get to the bottom of it. It never got fixed. The boot leaked. It was just generally a bit crap. We discovered in the service history, because they'd left, the previous owners had left the receipt in there, that it had a tank of the wrong fuel in it at one point.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
As in, it was a petrol and it had been filled with diesel, or the other way around. I can't remember now.
Dear.
And they'd left the repair bill for that in the service history. So
That was nice of them.
So we knew that it perhaps had some engine damage, but we didn't know that until after we'd bought it, obviously. I mean, we did buy it quite cheap, but annoyingly, at the time, the dealer we bought that car from had a Mark I Focus gear on the forecourt for the same price. And I wanted to buy the Mark I, but this was Dawn's car, and she didn't like the look of the Mark I. And so we bought the Mark II, which was a few years newer. But yeah, I think maybe had we bought the Mark I mean, who knows? We might even still have it.
Oh my goodness me! Didn't like the look of the Mark I.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't like the look of the Mark I. Still. Yeah, still.
Oh dear.
Yeah. I know. We might have a problem there. But nevertheless, the Mark II Focus was second worst.
I mean, I remember at the time, because it was a couple of years into Top Gear in the new format, and Hammond test drove it.
He did
before release,
and
he said what was telling. He said he parked it at the side of the road
on a high street, didn't he?
And no one noticed.
No one even gave it a second look. Yeah.
Whereas the Mark I Focus, everyone loved it.
Yeah, it was a real wow moment, wasn't it? Yeah, it was something really different. But the Mark II, I don't know why they did that. We've touched on this before, but yeah, it was such a disappointment.
Very conservative.
Not to say it was a bad car.
No,
I mean the one we had might have been, but generally, it wasn't. It wasn't a bad car. It's just incredibly dull.
Yeah, a little tedious.
Inside and out. It was just
right.
Plain sponge cake.
Oh, lovely. That's all right. Go on then. Right, let's put us out of our misery. The worst car out of the 6.
Worst car out of the 6. A 1982 Renault 5 Le Car.
Yes.
Really.
I'm right. Okay.
You're going to need to take a moment on that one.
But, I mean, first of all, I'm struggling with the name of the edition that she had.
Yeah, it was written on the side as well.
Because I always thought that particular Le Car was reserved for the American market.
Well, obviously not.
Because the Renault 5 was never sold as the 5 in America. It was always sold as Le Car.
Yeah. But wasn't Le Car over here and in France a trim level? Entirely. Well, I mean, it obviously was because
yeah. So, I mean, either that or someone had got some stickers and banged them on.
I suppose that's possible. I had never considered that.
Because as far as I recall, they had the American ones had, not only was it badge Le Car, they had stickers on the doors as well.
Yes, hers did. I remember it because that was in the era when we were dating the first time round. Long story. Let's not get into that. But
Oh dear.
it's complicated. But yeah, hers definitely said Le Car on the doors and on the boot lid. Sure, it did.
See, I'm stuck on that because I genuinely thought that was reserved.
I'm going in. I'm going in
for the American market.
I'm going in. Here we go. Renault 5. Yeah, see, I'm just looking at it here, and it's not called Renault 5 Le Car. It's Renault Le Car. Yeah,
that's right.
Let's see here.
I love those original 5s. And
well, she had one and didn't get on with it at all. It was a 3-door in silver. She found it to be very underpowered, unreliable. Quite a lot of bits fell off it. It did have a habit, and I remember because I was in the car once when it did this. It had a habit when you were going around a corner, and obviously they did have a bit of a lean on. The doors tended to fly open.
A safety feature, just in case you need to get out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the quick exit system. Going round a roundabout with the doors flapping was quite an experience.
When you say underpowered, they did come with a range of engines.
I don't know what hers had specifically. I mean, this is a long time ago now.
Because at their lowest, they had, I think it was badged 800 cc's, but it was 700 and something. I think it was 800, 850, 1000, 1100, 1300, and then the 1400, and then the 1400 turbo.
Yes. Okay. I don't know what hers had. And I doubt she'll remember now either. Long time ago.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, there's only certain type of people that perhaps you and I, when we get a bit Rain Man about the cars we used to have, and we can quote the number plate and all that sort of capability.
Absolutely, yeah, we're quite disturbing when it comes to that sort of thing.
That's not normal behaviour.
No, it isn't. No. I'm looking up here, and it does appear that you may be correct that Le Car was never sold in the UK. In which case, it definitely had Le Car stickers on it. But as you say, I mean, this car wasn't bought new. This was a used purchase.
I'm assuming this was first car, yeah.
Yes, this is her first car. Yeah, that's right. Renault 5. 1982 Renault 5 3-door in silver.
I like that. What a wonderful first car.
Yeah, and she was also she was the first of our group of friends to have a car. I mean, by some years.
Mm-hmm.
It got heavily used that because as a group it was our only car, so we went everywhere.
Yeah, that's it. Whoever passes first, and that's it. You all pile in, don't you?
Absolutely, that's the thing. And it was some time before any of the rest of us had a car. I believe the next car in the fleet was a very, very battered Austin Metro.
Oh dear.
Yeah, with optional wing mirrors.
Optional wing mirrors. Yeah,
yeah, because sometimes the sellotape would let go in the rain. So that was a problem.
Yeah, that can happen. Yeah.
Yes, right. It got a bit damp and they just disappear.
Oh dear, but I tell you what really upsets me is that, I mean, like Dawn's first car, your first car, my first car, even though I didn't get around to having a driving license, we all had ship boxes from the 80s.
Yes.
Because mine, well, we touched on it before. Mine was a 1988 Nissan Micra.
Yeah, mine was a 1987 Mark IV Escort.
There you go. So yeah, we've all got these 80s treats, but nowadays it's just not going to work like that, is it? It's not going to be your shit box, is it?
Well, there aren't really anymore, are there? They don't really exist anymore.
No,
because cars are so much better built now.
I suppose the closest equivalent, and it's not even a shitbox, it's just tedious, would be some Korean nonsense.
Yeah, absolutely it would, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Which would be a perfectly functioning car, but of no interest.
Of no interest, but cheap to insure, cheap to tax, which is two things you're clearly going to look at at that age because you haven't got any money. So yeah, it's got to be cheap to tax and insure. It's going to be reasonable on fuel and cheap for parts when they break. I mean, that's
it. And gone are the days of the loopholes that you and I would have had, where we go, oh, it's my dad's car and I'm on the insurance now.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore. They're wise to that now. Yes.
You remember? It's one of my absolute favourite Top Gear episodes where they went go and buy a car as a 17-year-old.
Yes, I remember that.
And we were calling up for insurance quotes. Jeremy's was fantastic. We're only going to let him drive to and from the shops very, very rarely.
Yeah. Yes. And didn't James May get a quote? And he said to them, "So you're telling me I'm going to write the car off completely 5 times a year?"
That was Jeremy again, I think.
Was that Jeremy as well?
It was just, it was so reminiscent of trying to deal with that carnage at the time.
I know. It wasn't good, was it? It wasn't good.
And that was right. I think that was right at the cutoff point where they went, actually, after that, it was not even an option to go on parents' insurance.
No, you can't do that. We never did that, I must admit, but I know a lot of that went on.
I had very little choice but to do that.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I was a bit later, although I'd learned to drive, I didn't have a car for a while. And I used to get the bus and back to work. But
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was horrible. But after working for a few years, a car became an option. So that's when I bought I think my dad loaned me the money because I didn't have the lump sum. It was £1,000 to buy an R4 Escort, and then I paid him back over a period of months, and that was all fine. But,
that's.
But I was on my own insurance. I wasn't on his insurance. I was definitely on my own insurance on that. But
that's impressive. Actually, I tell you what did me a massive favour because I obviously learnt for a while and then didn't, and there was a colossal gap. And when I actually passed my test, I immediately got a company car.
Oh, nice!
And I had that for about 5 years. So I was on their insurance. So as soon as I left that job and took out my own insurance policy, no one cared then.
No, because you were that little bit older, and it was
a little bit older, very, very wise.
Yeah. Yes. And the problems were gone. Yeah,
that's it. It particularly annoys Kaylee because she's been driving significantly longer than me, actually.
Right.
But when when she was taking out her insurance policies on her most recent cars, being the Mini and the MG and that, when she adds me to the policy, I reduce the amount.
Beautiful.
That winds her up a treat. That does.
Beautiful. Interesting.
With age and wisdom comes many rewards.
Yes, you see, the insurance companies love you. Yes.
With Grandad, you're in a safe pair of hands.
Oh, they know you. You see, they've seen you. They've seen you work. Yeah, there you go. It was interesting when Phil came to insure us on his Puma. To add me, it was an extra £11.50. To add Dawn, it was nothing.
All right, so you're the reckless one this time.
I apparently have the problem. Yes, but not very much of one.
No.
Only a little problem.
One day of the year, he might be reckless. So £11.50, please.
£11.50. Yes. Yeah. Dawn, no bother.
No,
it's going to make no difference.
It's crazy, isn't it? And you think
it is mad. But we're in that period now. We're in that age bracket. We will never get insurance cheaper than we do at the moment. It's from this point on, it's going to start going up again.
That's it.
We've got another few years. We've got another few years, and then it's going to start going wrong again.
But you're at the point now where you think about it. I know it's almost dirty to say it, and makes you feel old. But insuring the Puma, perhaps not this year, or maybe in a few years to come, maybe put it on a classic policy.
Yeah, I thought about that because we'll be able to, because I think it is. I think it would be classified as a classic. I mean, it's 20 years old now already. So yeah, I think it will fit. Yeah, limited mileage classic policy, absolutely. Yeah,
If you pop that on like a 5,000 mile limit per year,
yeah,
which
cheap
is
as chips.
absolutely fine, that
Yeah,
would be absolutely pence to ensure that.
yeah, I think we're on to a winner there, and I think we do intend to keep this. Because I don't think, I mean, we were talking that we could probably flip this now. We could probably sell this, get a couple of bits done on it, and we could probably sell it for significantly more than we bought it for. But I don't really want to do that.
No,
This one's we couldn't get another one, not like this.
you can use it and treat it well, but as a byproduct of that, it's going to be a nice little earner, I think.
I think it probably will be. I think the Puma is going to become a classic because they didn't make. I mean, yes, they made it was a mass-produced car, but they only made it for 5 years.
That's correct. It was. I mean, we're in terms of production, we're not talking millions here.
No, we're not. Less than 200,000, I think.
I think less than 150 actually as well.
130 is a figure that rings a bell.
That sounds right. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because
I'm gonna look it up.
I mean, even at the time, they were relatively common, but they weren't plentiful.
133,000.
There you go.
In total, all made at Ford's Cologne factory in Germany.
That's right.
133,000. And of those, how many were the 1.7? I don't know. And then how many were the Thunder edition? I don't know.
Oh, the Thunder edition, they're 2,000. 1,000 in each color.
Is that right? I didn't know that. Oh, there you go. Because I'm only learning about all this now.
That is in the nonsense pile where I could store something of use there.
Fantastic. Yeah, but now it's been added to mine as well.
Right. Okay. There you go. So
very good. So we have 1 of 1,000.
1 of 1,000 in Magnum Grey.
How about that? Well, there we go. And they're rusting fast, so we can keep this one nice. We might be. We might be. When I searched for Thunders earlier in the week, just to see, I found 5 currently for sale in the UK.
That's crazy.
Not including this one.
There was, and I don't know if it still is because this was a while back when I was working in town. Every morning, someone was dailying a Ford Racing Puma.
A racing Puma?
Yeah.
Blimey.
The purple jobbies.
Yeah. I know the ones you mean. Yeah, the ones that never actually went racing.
One of them never actually went racing, but and they were limited to 500 of those.
Wow.
Someone was dailying one of those.
Well, the lunatic.
Yeah. So that would, I mean, when this, oh God, that would, I say in recent times, that would have been getting on for nearly 10 years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah, don't think about
that. But even then, they would have been worth big money.
Yeah, they still, absolutely.
I mean, and now they're commanding ludicrous money. But
the racing one, absolutely. Yeah. But
no, you've chosen well. Thunder and that engine, because those 1.7s, like you touched on, they were Yamaha.
Yamaha, co-developed with Yamaha. That's right.
That's it. And the racing ones actually were additionally tuned by Tickford.
Indeed, they were. I learned that recently. Yes, indeed. Mr. JM on Cars recently reviewed a racing Puma, and he touched on that. Yeah. Yes, they were quite a thing, but like you say, they are most definitely out of the budget.
They are, and when you see one, it's worth getting excited about.
And, but you very rarely do.
No, and they are such cool things. So, my goodness me, you've chosen well.
I'm very pleased with this, the way that's worked out. Yeah, I think we've done okay there. So my vehicle is still to come,
right?
But I think we've got the lady sorted.
Okay. Yep. So, and in the meantime, you can just borrow that.
But indeed, so yes, I'm on the insurance, so no bother there.
No, that's good. And yeah, all right. Well, next week then I'll come and stick my face in it.
Come and stick your face in it, and you can give us your thoughts. Yes.
Yeah. All right. We'll come back to this then.
Very good. Well, I think that's probably enough of that for this week. Check us out on all the various social medias and things. Thank you very much for listening.